What's up, YouTube? My name's Colin, and I live in the mountains of Oaxaca, Mexico, in this cabin that I built myself. I want to let you know that this is going to be the hardest video that I've had to make so far, because I am going to be covering the reasons behind why my wife and son are no longer going to be a part of the channel Rancho Suka. Also, I want to discuss my vision for the future of the channel. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So I had met my wife Vanessa 8 years ago in Mexico City. I was working there on a project, and you know, she's from Mexico City, like born and raised her whole entire life, like right in the city center. And myself, on the other hand, I was born and raised in the Colorado Rockies in a small town in the mountains. At the time, you know, for most of our relationship, that difference was pretty significant. You know, opposites attract. We kind of complemented each other, and it didn't really matter. The bulk of our relationship, I was pretty nomadic. My job, I worked about 6 to 8 months out of the year, and the time that I had off, I would spend with Vanessa, either in Mexico City, or we would go on vacations, usually in Central America, something more affordable that we could, you know, travel around easily. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. But about 2 years ago, I had decided that I wanted some stability. You know, after, you know, 12 years of traveling all over the country, it started to get old. It's like, okay, yeah, what am I doing? I wanted to invest time and energy and build something that belonged to me and my family. So that's when I had purchased this property and we started building the cabin. She was very supportive. Like, we rented a spot nearby and we were building the cabin every day. We had a short period of time to knock that out, and we finished like just in the nick of time, because I did have to get back to the United States for a project. So literally we finished the cabin. I traveled to Mexico City with Vanessa to fly back to I had to work in Arlington, Texas for 5 months. And I think I was actually in Texas when we found out. Vanessa had taken a blood test, and we had found out that she was actually 4 months pregnant with our son. So he was a surprise. And that project was 5 months, so it actually worked out right about 9. At the end of that project in Arlington, I had flown back to Mexico City just in time for the birth of our son Aiden. And I had hung out in Mexico City for about a month with our newborn child, and then I had returned to the cabin, because at this point the cabin was just a shell. Doors, windows, just dried in is where we had gotten it. So I had spent, you know, 6 months by myself, kind of installing the floor, getting electricity, setting up water, you know, making it comfortable and livable for my wife and son. And also we wanted to allow time for Aiden to get his vaccines and to grow up a little bit more so that he could be a little more comfortable off-grid here in the woods. So 6 months later, they came down and we were all living together here in the woods. I started the channel. There's some videos you guys can actually see us living together. But I think those of you who do live off-grid, I think you know that living off-grid is something that it takes a lot of work. It's not as glamorous as some would have you believe. And if you don't want it, like really want it, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna be pretty miserable. And Vanessa, she kicked ass. Like, she worked so hard, especially with our son and everything that entailed living off-grid. For her being from the city, like, mind was blown. Like, she really gave it her all. But ultimately, it's just not something that she wanted. You know, reality started to set in, and to really think of a life with our son and living here off-grid for years and starting a life, it just ended up being something that she decided she didn't want. And I understand, you know, it's a huge change. So this last time when we were in Mexico City for my son's birthday, his first birthday, we had decided that it'd be best for Vanessa and Aiden to stay in Mexico City and for me to return. And it's hard, you know. I think this can be a lesson. You know, it's so obvious to me now, but life happens. And you know what, I think this could be a lesson for people if you want to live off grid, and especially if you want to do it with a partner, make sure that you guys discuss like your values, your beliefs, where you see a future, where it's going. It seems so obvious now, but it snuck up on me. And you know what didn't matter for 98% of our relationship was huge, and at this point it's altering the life of my son, you know, our son. So just, I would recommend just making sure, especially before having a child, that you guys are on the same path and committed and you have the same vision. And you know what? I don't hold any hard feelings against Vanessa, and I still love her and she still has my support. It's just a difference of beliefs and ideals and what we want for the future. And for me, the hardest part is my son, because I want him to grow up like I did in the mountains of Colorado. You know, I grew up always outside playing with my brother. You know, we'd be playing in the creek or the snow. Like, for instance, my brother and I, we'd be in our snowsuits playing in the snow, drenched, soaking wet. It'd be dark outside, you know, building forts, sledding in our backyard. And, you know, Mom would call and be like, get inside. And we would just protest. We were so disappointed. Like, being outside was such a part of my upbringing, my life. And I still have that connection to this day. And that's something that I wanted to give to my son, that it just, as of right now, it doesn't look like that's gonna be the case. So that brings me to the direction of this channel. You know, I was thinking of, you know, I want to have a presence in his life, and obviously this is a pretty, you know, it's not going to be a sufficient substitute for being present in his life all the time, but I want this channel to turn into somewhat of a video diary, so that when he is older, he can see what I'm building for him. You know, this property's in his name. This all belongs to him. And I want him to see, you know, what I'm building for him. And I want him to know that it's here for him if and when he wants it. And that I do care. So, you know, that's kind of what I want this to be. And if you came for the family aspect, if that's what drew you in, I'm sorry, but that's just not what the channel is going to be anymore. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. And if you want to stick around and see what unfolds, because I mean, I'm going to have a good time. I love it out here. I'm going to continue to build. I'm going to continue to see where this goes. And I'm excited for the future, honestly. And I would love to have you along. And if you do, here I am. I'd love to have you. If not, then thanks for stopping by. But yeah, ultimately I think that covers just about everything I wanted to cover in this video. Just short and sweet, but this is something I definitely wanted to address, because it just didn't feel right making videos and just not, oh, all of a sudden there's no family. Like, obviously this is something I needed to cover. So here it is. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please only comment if you have something nice to say. If not, please just keep it to yourself. I don't really need that right now. So otherwise, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye.